All right, let's do this. Welcome to this is generally my code with me session, but today I thought we could look at a little bit of ChatGPT, a little bit of prompt engineering, and a little bit of action graph. So let me just finish setting up here. Yeah, I hope this will be helpful to a few folks here. All right, there we go. Can you hear me all right? If you hear, let me know in the chat. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to assume that maybe you don't know about Action Graph, and I can give you probably a quick introduction, and maybe we'll let ChatGPT tell us about Action Graph. So start a new chat. What can you tell me about NVIDIA Omniverse? Hey, Ben. Ooh, it's a powerful tool. Okay, so it's a visual scripting tool, lets you build complex workflows by connecting together nodes. These nodes, we typically call them actions, and you can have, and actions are triggered by events typically. I'm just ad-libbing here now, I'm not even reading. But that's pretty good, right? It has some knowledge of action graph. And I can show you here, right? I can create a new action graph. I can drag nodes. So we've all seen what this looks like. If you're new to Omniverse, you've seen a node graph somewhere. Here are events. Here's some debugging nodes, and we can wire these up. That's not going to connect. Oh, actually, that might connect. Look at that. These are typed attributes, so they do need to have a matching type to connect. And hey, Paul. Hey, Data Juggler. And so let's see what else ChatGPT can tell us about Action Graph. I'm going to go ahead and clear that out. And what I was messing around with. So, okay. So, what nodes do you know about Action Graph? Right, I just showed you guys some nodes. Let's see what ChatGPT knows about nodes. Hey, Furkan. Okay, data nodes, that's made up. Control nodes, that's so it knows about general node groupings, categories, but not really telling me about individual nodes right now, right? And some of these are made up. I don't think we have a rotation node. Let's take a look. A rotation, but not just straight rotation node. By node. And multiply. So a little bit. Let's get back over here. Now we don't have anything like a render node or so. Should we press it a little bit harder to see if it knows? Tell me the input and output attributes of multiply node is a little bit too generic. It's going to get that right. Let's say print text. All right. Kind of. Yeah, this is just totally made up, right? I can create a new graph here. Not even close. So we have our work cut out for us. The other thing that I wanted to show you all before we start experimenting is so action graphs can be created using Python code, and it's actually a very simple API. So there is this controller class, and then there is this edit function, and the arguments are pretty simple. I'm looking for edit commands here. Maybe that's not there. But there's a good example here. You do controller edit, tell it which graph you want to edit, and then edit commands. And there are a number of ways that you can edit a graph, and you can do these all together in one command. So you can delete nodes, create prims, expose prims, connect, disconnect, set values. These are the hard-coded values in the fields for the node. And you can create variables like on a graph. You might want to create a variable, expose a variable on the outside of the graph so that you can connect from the outside. So for example, creating a node, it takes, you give it a name for the node, and you give it this would be the name, the node type, which is that's the ID. And then when you connect nodes, you tell it the name of the node, the name of the attribute, and what you want to connect it to, the name of the node, and the name of the attribute. So I think, I explained this pretty quickly. I think we can explain this pretty simply to ChatGPT so that it can get it. That's probably the most important thing. There may be something else that we want to teach it from here as well. But so I started down that path. I also have this node library, which is really handy. So we also need to teach it about a bunch of nodes. I don't think we can fit all of these in a prompt, but this is mostly just research. So I think we'll fit as many as we can and see what we can get ChatGPT to do. Cool. Just checking the chat here. Yeah. So, so here's where I kind of started. Can I scrunch that? Yeah. They gave it a brief introduction of what is OmniGraph, that it's built on what is Action Graph, and that it's built on the OmniGraph API, how to import that. Yeah, some of the hallucinated nodes might be cool to create. And I think what we're finding is that I think Miles said it in the last live stream that we had him on, is that ChatGPT kind of gives you the middle of the road, the most average responses. And so it knows about a lot of APIs. And if you're making an API and and ChatGPT is having a hard time or is making stuff up or is suggesting certain things to your API, that's probably what your users might guess to try as well. So if you wanted your users to have an easy time learning your API, you can ask ChatGPT to kind of suggest what functions and what parts of how to name your symbols and all that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Cool. And explain what the controller is and how we can create it and edit graphs. So just a little bit of code there. If the graph is at that path doesn't exist, it'll be created automatically. And this is how you create nodes. And I explain everything we just I kind of briefly talked about as we were looking at that code. I've gone ahead and just broken it step by step. And explaining the namings of nodes versus attributes. Hey, Marco. What else? Setting those hard-coded values. And here I start to describe some of the nodes. So what I thought would be the easiest thing that I could think of is add two nodes together. So I've got a constant integer node. I've got the add node, takes two inputs, outputs a sum. I've got toString because I want that to be fed into print text, and print text only accepts strings. So I have to convert that output integer into a string. And then this on stage event, which is so if you look at my final prompt, this is what I want it to do: is create an action graph, calculates 5 plus 2, prints the result to the console when the user presses the play button. So kind of, it is just addition, but it's got some steps to it, and it'll have to have some understanding of events. It'll have to have some understanding of that print text node. So so let's give it a go. I did play around with this a little bit earlier. It did, and just as I didn't want to come on here and be just have it totally crash and burn, but it does need some love, some massaging here. So far so good. That's oh, I'm sorry. I should have what I should do is show you what it generates when I don't do the prompt engineering here. So it's like, this is really promising to me, is it's understanding how to create nodes. Throws in some F strings here, sure. When did it add it to? That might actually work. I'm not sure. So this does return a list of nodes. I don't know in what data format it's in, but it's going to try to, yeah, that's probably going to fail. And all right, so I'm pretty sure this is not good. But it's got a lot of things right. It did understand the outputs and inputs, named those correctly. What else? It got that node creation right, so I could absolutely just run this right now. It would create all the right nodes for me. So, or it's just malicious code that's going to kill my computer. I don't know. All right, ChatGPT, what did you give me? That seemed like legit code. keys are correct. What did it do for keys? Yeah, got the keys correct. Yeah, this is why I like doing this. It's just good fun. Um, it got that right. But yeah, I don't know what Omniverse, this Create app did not like it. I'm gonna try it again because as far as I can tell, that looks like valid code. All right, we'll get that back up and running. Anything else that I can pick up that we can kind of fine tune here as we come along? I could run this again, and it'll probably give me some other. Uh, yeah, that looks right to me. All right, we could do it again, right? All right, while it's thinking, I got this back up. And let's run that little bit of code there. Where did I put it? That looks good to me. There we go. Yeah, I don't know what happened last time. So we got all the right nodes, and if I open this, one thing that I need to fix here is that I haven't told it which type of graph. We have different graphs in Omniverse, and action graphs are specifically an execution evaluator type. Once I do that, I can open it up as an action graph. And it got all the nodes right, so that's great. It even went ahead and named these individually. So we're on the right track. And it did it do all the right nodes? It didn't give us the stage event because I think that was in a separate step. All right. I'm just messing around with ChatGPT right now. It's really early on that I didn't want to jump over to Playground yet. Cool. So we got that much. Let's see what it did this time around, right? And we can mess around with temperature as well, is what I found out recently, that we can tweak that from this interface. That might help. So here we got all the right nodes. It even did the on start play on the stage event there. And it tries to connect these to the add node, sum to toString to print text, and the execution. So that all looks right. I'm going to try this one. There is going to be some tweaking here, I already know. It's really stubborn, but let's try this one now. That's right, this is 3.5. All right, let's try this new one. This all looks good. I'll just run this and we'll fix the errors as we go along. So, well, here's one. Set node options. I think this wanted to be set values. Or it probably just made it up. Man, I don't know what is going on today with running this code. Oh, well, this isn't even valid code at all right here because it's not even inside of an edit command. Let's take a quick look here at what it did. Yeah, it did it. So, not even close. It looked really good, and then I realized it. Oh, I see. It put them all into an edit command at the end. Sometimes ChatGPT is smarter than me. I don't know why. I don't know what's causing this crash setup. Yeah, or it's really just a hang. No, so Action Graph is more like a visual programming language for 3D 3D applications like Unreal blueprints. You can build logic into your 3D scenes with it. So but it's fairly new. So the training set here probably wasn't able to learn about it. So I'm trying to augment it with prompt engineering. I do want to show you all what happens when I tell it to create this without any prompt here, or with the simplest prompt. All right. So that would be the simplest prompt, right? Well, that's horrible. Well, I could probably give it a little bit, clue it in a little bit more. Yeah, actually, so um, we use Action Graph to train AI actually. So or OmniGraph. I think it's also Action Graph. So we put logic flows for robotics and things like that. If you're interested, there's Isaac Sim, and we use a lot of Action Graph in there to train robots. All right, so it doesn't know. So that's why what I wanted to show is that we have a lot of work here to get it into some sort of production ready state, but at least it can learn. So let me go back to my other chat here. Come on. There we go. Oh no. Is this gonna ruin our plans? Yeah, I feel I was messing around with this yesterday, and it feels like teaching a kid sometimes. I mean, unrelated to what that's tangential to what Renan is saying, but but it can be really stubborn. Okay, so what I wanted to add is I've been annoyed by creating a graph and having to flip it to an action graph. So I'm trying to find the API, the exact API for creating it with the right attributes. Controller, create graph. Is that in here? No, it's probably going to be in it's going to be in one of the documentation kits, probably. One of the documentation units. Oh, there's a few instances here. There it is. Create graph and evaluator name. That's what I want. So we'll fix this here. All right. Node name, evaluator is global graph. I think this is all okay. We may even be able to leave these as default values. We'll leave those as just default values. All right. So come back over here. And feel free to throw out suggestions here. I'm not the ChatGPT whisperer, so if you've got any ideas on how to maybe approach it better, let me know. All right, we're off to a good start. I picked up the creation, and it's also continuing on that thread of this is where my action graph is, so that's great. This looks promising. So far, so good. I'll show you another place where it's really stubborn, and I cannot get it to listen to me. Is these? No, what is it doing? Oh, interesting. So it just bypassed the constants entirely this time. Let me just analyze this a little bit here. So it's saying event node exec out. That's wrong, unfortunately. But it got the sum right to the value, to the converted. All right, so let's run this. I need to get that up and running again. I might switch over to code. I'm not sure why create is hanging on that. Yeah, I suspect that too, is that, uh, um, that it does have some brief, messages that so, like, I haven't been bothered enough to clear that out. I tried both. It didn't seem like the results were that much better clearing every time. Um, so I've just been sticking just for the workflow, simplicity, I've just been sticking to one chat. Cool, cool. All right, let's do. I didn't want that. I wanted script editor. Oh, do the wrong text. All right. What are you gonna do now? Yeah, here we go. So let me show you my annoyance right now. Um, okay, so we're getting there. We've got some connected nodes. That makes me happy. What it complained about this time was oh, interesting. So yeah. So unfortunately, the way that this node is set up, even though it seemed logical that it would try to just set a value on this, this node specifically, because it's any type, you have to connect a value, because otherwise the UX for this would be pretty. I wonder if I could do it here. Ah, Um, what type of field do you put here that would be able to do any data type? Maybe a string field. I don't know, but we are trying to teach ChatGPT how to build node graphs like this. Yeah, I agree with Eric. Is that it's Eric here saying that ChatGPT will begin to lose context just by the nature of the token limit. I think that's what I've been noticing as well. And then Eric is saying the last 20 messages. No, this is Omniverse, NVIDIA Omniverse. We're creating action graphs. They look a little bit like blueprints. I'm using 3.5. I thought, I was getting pretty okay results, and I can show this for free right now. All right, so no good there. Blah, 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 blah. Anything else we could do here? We fixed the graph creation. That's great. Biggest issue we're having right now is I feel like we should try it one more time just to see. And I guess I should try changing the temperature now. Should I set it before or after everything? Picked this up from the ChatGPT gurus. I don't know how true it is. Temperature would controls how much it should hallucinate, right? The default is supposed to be 0.8. That's the sweet spot that they found for ChatGPT. One would make it very strict and not, and which would not create as interesting scripts for a movie, but for something like this, maybe it would be helpful. All right, let's start looking at this. Create nodes is great. It's getting it. Good job, buddy. Setting values. This one it got it right. Event name, it got it right. Text, this is kind of wrong, but that's okay. And we want it to screen. And then it does the connections, which is mostly right. All right, let's try this one. Maybe temperature was my issue. What does that say about the code that we write then when ChatGPT hallucinating then does it better? All right, we're done with this. We're going to do another one here. And here it's going to fail for sure. Here, this is the bane of me trying to work with ChatGPT is one, it got this wrong. It did it right on this one. It did a dot to delineate the node path from the attribute. Here, it put a /. And then I am trying to convince it. I'll show you here. Yeah, I can show you on the action graph, and then we'll run it again with the fix. Did it not create the... It didn't create the constants. Well, so here's my issue is this. I guess I should show it here. Constants int this node. All right, I'm switching to code. Because this one shouldn't be hanging. Bam. All right. We'll get that up and running. Any questions so far? Any suggestions? I feel like at this point, most of us are just making it up as we go with this kind of stuff. Anyways, I'm pretty impressed that with the prompt engineering approach, or like automatically create action graphs or anything about the nodes, and it's making sense of it. All right, let's do. It fails, right? Obviously. I'm surprised it did not create these constants. Maybe it runs in different orders than I expect. All right, so this should be dots. And actually, this is correct. For the longest time, it was doing outputs here, which is wrong. That's what I wanted to show. but I'll show it after I run, I guess. There it is. This is where it annoys me. So this is the attribute name. This is the one that I made up. I'll show you the prompt, how I've been fighting with ChatGPT to get it right. And it wins every time. Here it put why it put spaces here. That's annoying. I need to give it some rules about how to. I actually hadn't encountered this before. I have to give it some rules about node names. They shouldn't have spaces. And here it's messing up the delineation. So let me put some notes here before I forget. To main node path versus attribute name delineation. How you spell delineation. I have the spell checker. How do I do that? Spelling. No. My spell checker doesn't work. Explain node path. And what was the other bit that I'm fixing here? Oh, and the naming. In that node names can't have spaces. There are other rules to naming in USD, but we'll start with that. It's kind of like this art of trying to give it as little information as possible, right? Because of the token limit. So we kind of hope that it starts to show kind of some understanding, and then you realize, oh no, I didn't actually quite know that. Let me delete that. I just want to get a working example here, and then we'll. Oh, here's another one with spaces. I don't know why I put underscores. Just getting rid of the space was easier. There we go. So I think we got one. All right, so that's the goal. It got the logic right? It was just the little syntax errors that we need to fix. So I think maybe that temperature of 1 was the right idea, and now we just need to give it those rules. Cool. So let's go back and do that. Oh, and we should run this, right? That's the whole point. We run it and we get that 7 right there on the screen when we press play. So I'm pretty impressed. It knew to change the event name to OmniGraph start play. Understood the execution connections there in order to get this print text to run. I didn't tell it anything about Omniverse and how users interact with it. I just told it to print to the screen when the user presses play. And yeah, I told it this fires OmniGraph start play fires when the user presses play. Yeah, let me show how I added it here. The question was how do you set the temperature? Um, I added it at the I didn't save it, so thank you for asking that because I should save this up at the top. First thing I said was set the temperature to 1.0. Whether that works or this is like some sort of placebo, I'm not sure. I don't think this is documented at all. Like I said, it's the GPT gurus spreading all this information. But we got better results with it, so we'll try it for a bit. All right, let's give it those fixes for the attribute naming and the node naming. So the reason that I went down this path is I find this a lot more interesting than trying to create a bunch of training data to train the model and it's a lot more work, right? Training a new model to or extending this model with more information. So what I like about this approach is that we can explain as you would to any other human how to use this API and we got fairly good results, right? Whether I don't think I would try to build a full product for Action Graph this way, but at least it showed some sparks of understanding, which may be enough to of a prototype to say, hey, maybe we should try doing this, but change the approach to something more consistent and yeah, more consistent more than anything. Cool. So let's see how much further we can push this. Yeah. So Eric brings up a good question. Or good point is we have Omniverse and USD. It has ChatGPT has more understanding of USD than Omniverse as a whole, but I have been looking at LangChain, and seeing if maybe we could load up an index of Omniverse documentation, and then use LangChain to hit something like OpenAI's GPT with where it could look up these things instead of relying on what it was trained on. So yes, if y'all are interested, I think I will continue to do explorations like this. All right, so we got to say, where am I talking about node names? Here we go. Node names must, or node names cannot have spaces. I think that's enough. I don't want to go through all the other situations. It can't start with numbers, things like that. But until it starts to throw me bad stuff, I'll wait. Here's where I was getting annoyed by so I was treating, it would not connect an input to an input. So here I was saying that the prefixes, it does not say whether it can be connected as input or output attributes. And then here for the constant int, I explicitly said that input's value is an input and is also an output. So looks like today it decided to take that seriously. All right. Node name and attribute name should be. I really got to get that spelling right. I'm going to teach ChatGPT how to. Spelling. We're not savages. Delineated. That's what I did, right? But that needs to be an E. There we go. Should be delineated by a period. All right, let's see if that fixes our major issues. I fixed last time, so maybe we'll get a good one. Thank you, Simply. I promise I'm much better at spelling off live stream. All right. And then it decides to, set things to variables, and it throws me off a little bit. It's right, but my eyes need to get used to it. This is cool. I don't think I gave it an example of using underscores for values it doesn't care about. So that looks correct. Then it's going to connect, or it's going to set the values. Looks like this part's going to be messed up. I wonder if I don't want it to use these variables, if I should just set everything to underscore. That way, because it's trying to do this thing, and I'm pretty sure this is not going to work. Or it's trying to, it thinks it can get the node name from that nodes list. I should try it though, see what maybe it's right. Okay. How can I test that? I just ran some code here, so let's check what's in nodes. No, right? That's an object. And I was trying to access it from a bit like nodes. 0 name would work. It was treating it like a dictionary instead of a list. Nah. All right, so we'll have to ditch that. What I will try to do is come over here to my training text, and I'm going to just put underscores for all of these so that it's not tempted to use them. The other thing that I'd like to do, or like one optimization in the future is you can pass lots of edit commands at once, right? So if I were to encourage it to always just use one command to create a whole graph, it could be a lot more, I could fit a lot more into my prompt as far as tokens go. Right now it's given me a rather lengthy response. All right, let's try this one. I think this will be the last iteration. We have like 5 minutes left. I thought we could leave a little bit of time for questions or anything you'll want to chat about. There we go. This is where I messed up this should be inputs right here. Anybody have another easy graph that you can think of that we can try? I think we're getting much better results now. I'd be curious to try something different. Make sure it's not like totally trained only for this one graph, right? We could add new nodes to make something more interesting. This looks pretty good. I think I just need to fix that inputs. This one, right? This should be inputs. All right, and we'll delete this one, and we'll omit. No errors. Wonderful. No. You're gonna hang on me too? Something to do with the action graph window. I just switched to it when it hung. I'll need to talk to the and a hard crash. That's good because I got a crash log. I'll have to talk to the dev team to see if we can look at it, see what's up. All right. Change the color of something or set the size. Graph to rotate a param. I think those are good ideas for the next one. Or maybe I could do a little video to do for. But yeah, I feel like it would fail since I've been very explicit about teaching it node by node. AI NPCs with the chat function. We have some folks in our community that are doing that right now. They're using ChatGPT and Whisper API or Riva and connecting that to audio to face to animate a virtual character speaking. And using ChatGPT for the conversational part of it. So yeah, totally doable. All right, script editor. No crash. Oh, I need to fix that one bit right here. Let's open. There it is. And we can run it. No, it didn't print. Why didn't you print? Did it forget to set this to 2 screen? It did. So if we look at the console, we got the 7s printed, but it didn't listen to me and set that to true so that we would get it there on the screen. All right, ChatGPT, you win this time. But, fun little experiment. All right. Well, we're at the top of the hour. I hope this was useful to some of you. I think we started with something that couldn't make action graphs at all. And we at least got it to make one simple action graph with one minor mistake, right? The input, the attribute naming on these constant nodes. If you can see here that it's called inputs and the output is called input. And ChatGPT was struggling on that, but looks pretty good. All right, thanks for coming. Next week we may continue with something like this. I think Paul and Funky Boy brought up some good ideas for some other graphs. So I think it might be cool to see if we can push it to do something a little bit more than math. If I can fix these bugs that are kind of annoying, we'll try it out. All right, thanks for coming, Eric and everyone else. And I will tomorrow we have a really cool live stream on sim-ready assets, creating sim-ready assets. There are a lot of questions in the community about how to do that, how to create sim-ready assets. So we'll have Bo on for that, and Ashley's going to be on as well. And then Friday we have developer office hour. So bring any more questions you may have about Omniverse and developing for Omniverse. Have a great week, everyone. See ya.